Hello, lovely, and welcome to the Essence of Expression podcast. Get ready to explore insights, lessons, practices, and wisdom from life for life. I'm your host, Arejay, healer, teacher, student, and sage. I'm excited and honored to have you with me on this journey. Let's dive in. I've been spending time thinking about embodiment and balance a lot lately, and one of the things I wanted to bring up is, are you seeking the balance that's correct for you? Because a lot of times we hold balance as this ideal, and if it's not specified what that balance looks like, a lot of us default into one, balance as a noun and not a verb, and two, we think of balance in a kind of the scales are an equal measure type of way. And while that's not necessarily incorrect, I don't necessarily think it serves us in the best way, right? So first and foremost, I'm a huge proponent of balance as a verb, meaning we're always making adjustments, always changing to maintain. Well, maintain's bad because maintain's not the word I'm looking for. I'll find a better word later, but we're always making the adjustments, right? To kind of stay where we want to be in the moment. That's better. Because that could be in growth, that could be in maintenance mode. But either way, we're constantly making those adjustments so that that state is what's occurring. And when we think of balance in this both sides of the scales are equal and it's like 50% this and 50% that, it doesn't really take into account our own, like what is our own natural equilibrium, right? Because everyone has one. I'll give you an example. So if we think of body temperature, right? Human body temperature, typical temperature that's given is 98.6. Cool. I think I've once in my life had my temperature taken. It was 98.6. I tend to be normally around like 97.1-ish, right? Which means that at 99 degrees, I'm more moving into fever territory versus someone who's actually at normal 98.6, right? And I think we don't take this into account when we start trying to bring like the opposing forces into balance within us and things like that. So like when we're doing masculine and feminine work, and I don't mean that in like a gendered way necessarily, but in kind of the action and the receptive and balancing those aspects of us, it's very easy to think, oh, we need to make this into 50-50. And that may not be what your natural ratio is, right? Your natural ratio may be more receptive and a little less action-oriented, or it may be a little bit more action-oriented and less receptive. And that's not problematic. It's just we need to learn to work with it, right? I've been looking at a lot of different people's human designs lately, which I love to do, and I like working with it in various ways. So I like working with it for healing. I like working with it to inform my coaching practice. And I also like to look at areas that aren't necessarily as publicly discussed, as people aren't exploring it in the same way, right? Like I like affirmations from people's human designs because it's a more activating affirmation. And I tend to like looking at a lot of the statistics within someone's chart. So like how many of each of the lines they have, how many gates in which godheads they have, and also looking at like, oh, here's overall like how much yin activation they have versus how much yang activation they have. And so it was when I was looking at some of these stats that I started to wonder how many people might actually be trying to attain this concept of balance with an idea that actually is going to take them out of their own natural equilibrium, the way they're actually meant to operate. And I thought I'd share. And it's something that I think we really need to start looking more deeply at what is correct for us individually, right? Like, yes, there's a collective, what is good for us collectively. And I'm a firm believer that when all of us individually are operating correctly, then the collective is going to be a healthier collective, right? Because we were all put here for a reason. We all serve a purpose. And it brought me to the concept of alignment. And again, looking at people's human design charts and any other, like the astrology systems, whatever your tool for being able to see this might be. And in looking at it, we, like, in the coaching industry, in the wellness industry, in the health industry, and in a lot of spirituality, people will talk about being in alignment with yourself. And that's great. And I think there's this false idea that being in alignment with oneself means there's this absence of tension. And that's not necessarily true, right? So when you look at, like when I look at certain people's human design, there are activations that are in opposition of each other, right? And they're activated. So there is this tension that's naturally present, and it's meant to be there for this person. Now, yes, there are some of us that have very harmonious designs, right? Like I tend to have a very harmonious designs. There are lots of like recurring activations. It's a lot of the repeating like gates, the same gate being activated in multiple positions of the chart. A lot of gates that complement each other in their activation and support each other. So I think we often think that alignment and being in alignment with ourselves will look calm and collected and put together and at peace. And for some people, that's totally true. For some people, it will. For some people, the energy is a little bit more tense. It's a little bit more opposing. It's a little more push and pull between the poles, right? So someone may come across as potentially chaotic, and it's really easy to look and go, oh, like they're not in alignment, but they might actually be, right? They might be there as a catalyst. Excuse me. They might be there as a catalyst, right? And it's really like we're all meant to serve all these different roles and all these different functions. And I think it's beautiful, and the interconnectedness is amazing and super fascinating when you can really sit back and look at it and witness it and then be part of it and step back and witness it and weave your way in and out of that. So alignment may not look like what you think it looks like, because your idea of alignment may actually be something that would be true for your energetics, but not for someone else's energetics. So I just want to share that so that we can think about When I'm bringing something into balance, what does that actually look like? What is that for me? Or when we're working with clients, if we work with clients, right? If they're wanting to be in alignment, what might that alignment look like for them and for their energy? So I wanted to share that, and I felt called to bring my tuning forks into this for some reason. I don't know, things don't always make sense, but I'm gonna roll with it because that's how I am. The call was put out, so we're gonna go with it. And I just want you to take the next few minutes and just kind of settle in. And if you can get somewhere where you can be still and not be disturbed for a moment and close your eyes, great. If you're driving or anything like that, please don't do that. Definitely be safe and honor your safety and your needs and your environment that you are in. And in the meantime, I'm just gonna go ahead and get some of the tuning forks. Allowing yourself to just breathe and relax. Seeing where maybe you feel any of these more in your body. Just letting yourself release whatever tension, whatever needs to be let go of, just let it seep out. And with that, go contemplate what your balance might look like, what your alignment might look like. Thank you for your time and attention. If you enjoyed this episode, follow the show. If someone came to mind while you were listening to this episode, please take a moment to share it with them. If you're interested in joining a community and diving further into these topics, please visit theessenceofexpression.com/community and request to join our community group. Thank you. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your night or day, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.